This is Infection, the survival podcast recorded live on Tuesday, January 26th, 2021, episode 315. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to another episode of Infection, the survival podcast. Infection is your source for the latest information on survival video games. We bring you the latest news, reviews, updates, and more each and every week. My name is Nick Craig. You can follow me on Gab at Nick. 3,200 or so followers. Not a big deal. Nothing crazy. You can follow me over there. You can also check out our website, infectionpodcast.com. It is with my great pleasure to say, Brian, not just hello to you, but happy anniversary to you and to our audience on 6 years, starting our 6th year of Infection Podcast. Episode 1 took place January 20th, 2015. And here we are, the 26th of January, 2021. We've been through hurricanes, divorces. You have now multiple kids. You have
purchased a home.
I have a cat.
Yes.
I have
3 cats. Who would have thought? Who would have thought that?
Chickens. Yeah.
0 cats all my life, and all of a sudden I have 3.
And yeah, you have a farm and a new wife and everything. I mean, maybe 2021's a year of Infection Podcast. Who knows? The country's never been better.
Yeah. Financially, everything. I mean, this place has never been.
Yeah, man.
Been anywhere better.
We've been through pandemics.
What kind of losers? The thing is, what kind of people do a podcast for over 6 years?
Well, I mean, there's lots of successful podcasters like this. No Agenda. You look at the Twit podcast network. They've been doing a lot of their shows for years.
I guess. Mm-hmm.
Well, I tell you what, and I can say
those are the two groups here.
I can say this honestly. I have always enjoyed doing this show. Mm-hmm. There's never been a point where you and I have discussed not doing it.
Yeah.
It's just kind of been it's kind of just an autopilot thing. I mean, it's not an incredible amount of time. Like, we invest a decent amount of time, but it's not like it's 8 hours a week. I mean, now could we be doing more? I'm sure, but we're both busy. So we don't, and this is the result.
Well, the
of the
thing
show.
is, that's where we were. I think we're always very careful to make sure that when we're doing this, that we don't make it to where we put in so much that it's just you are just dreading the podcast coming up. Because if you put in too much stuff, because we could be doing a lot of little segments and just kind of pushing it here and there. But if we did it to where that was too much on a weekly basis to maintain, then we wouldn't want to do it anymore. So we try to take it to the point where we're each putting in enough work to make it successful, but not burning ourselves out. Because there's a lot of stuff you wouldn't want to do every week.
Like tracking down and trying to get guests and stuff like that. The reason we haven't done that is, frankly,
a big pain, yeah.
Because I don't want to deal with it. And Brian doesn't want to deal with it either. So we don't. Every once in a while we interview. I don't think we've interviewed somebody. I think the last person we interviewed was either Man Pawns or Nelson from Unturned. I don't believe we've done an interview since. It's been probably 2 or 3 years. But it's just, it's a lot of work. So we don't do it.
I enjoy doing them, but it's just the amount of, because even like various ones that we have done, minutes before the show, we have their PR emailing us saying, "Oh, well, there might be something that's coming up. There might be, to where that just isn't." That's
also,
it's not fun going into a show not knowing if all of a sudden the person you're getting ready to interview is going to get pulled.
Also, though, a lot of them are not in the United States, which means they can't do them live because it's the middle of the night in most of Europe at this point. So, I mean, again, not to go anything too crazy, but it's been 6 years, and as Sean says, end of the show announcement is coming. It is not, at least not as of right now. Who knows what the future holds? But we're hanging in there. We're going strong. Talking about some video games. So without further ado, it is now my pleasure to introduce Mr. Brian Aldridge. Hello, Brian. How are you?
Yes, and if you want to find me on the internet, I mean, someday you'll find me at Brian Aldridge on Parler, but for now, you can get me at Brian Aldridge on Gab. Or you can check out my blog, biteoftech.com. On there, there will be links to various things, and as sites go up and down. Like I canceled my Twitter. Like I disabled my Twitter account. So I got to pull that off of there. But whatever I do end up on, I'll put those on the website. Also, what you can do is if you go to infectionpodcast.com, go to the right-hand side there and join our server on Discord. And that's where people hang out, chat. There's a news channel there for submitting news topics. If there's maybe a game that you think we're not covering that we should be covering, a piece of news through the week, just put that in the news channel and we review that before every show. Also, we have our Steam group. If you happen to be sitting in front of your computer a little bit before the show, you would get a pop-up reminding you that we're getting ready to start our live broadcast. Then you can jump in the channel, chat throughout the show, give input, and also participate in the game giveaway that we'll do. Also, if you want to watch us video forms of the podcast, the video forms tend to be either live or you can watch after the fact, and that's through Twitch, through YouTube, through DLive, and through BitChute. And then we have our Infection Podcast Extras, which has the pre and post show that Judd does for us. And then the audio-only versions, and those are all just after the fact. We upload a copy after the show is done. None of those are streamed live. But if you're going to listen to the audio version, you can follow along in the show notes. And this one will be the 315th episode. We'll have links and videos and all kinds of things that we'll be referencing through this episode. So you're more than welcome to jump on there, follow along. There's an built-in video player, audio player on there, and it's really helpful for following along and seeing what we're seeing if you can only listen. And then if you want to support us, there's a support tab, or you can go to infectionpodcast.com/support, or you can type in your browser amazon.infectionpodcast.com or humble.infectionpodcast.com. And then there's Prime Gaming, which we'll see if we hear any noises throughout the show for that.
Absolutely. We still do have that functionality as well. All right. Here we go, Brian. Year is speeding by. We are in the final week of January. February it will be upon us next week. What's been going on? Any video gaming? Still kicking ass in Fortnite? What's the deal?
I did play some Fortnite last night with one of my sons, Jonathan, and then I've been playing the Sniper Elite a little bit here and there with my wife. I'm trying to think if there's anything like I've been doing single player. I haven't gotten back to Cyberpunk very much. I want to, but it's just usually if I'm going to play, I don't play during the day, so usually I'll just play a little bit. And I've been enjoying playing with my wife's friends doing the sniper game. There's a really big community there. It's a lot of fun. So anyone who wants to play that maybe has it on Xbox, hit me up and you're more than welcome to join us.
Nice. Trying to think. I didn't play. I don't think I played anything this week.
Yeah.
No, that's not true. I did play a little bit of Cyberpunk to test out the new update. But I didn't play anything long term this week. Doing some projects and whatnot around the house, getting some stuff squared away with that. So, yeah.
Well, and I got everything boxed up in here, so I keep saying next week I'll be moving my studio.
You've been saying next week for almost 3 months, to be fair.
Well, I have all the boxes right there, and then pretty much everything behind me, there's just the stuff that you see in the shot.
You've been saying this for 2 months.
I know, but the thing is, I can only do it on the weekends, and if I'm not going to be able to finish it, I don't want to start it so I can be ready for today's show, which is kind of a pain. So what I need to do is just tear it apart. I need to tear apart this.
Hold on a second. I moved from New York to North Carolina, and we didn't miss a show, and I was able to have a setup. I then moved all of my belongings. I moved all of my belongings across Wilmington to my home here.
Yes.
And let me be clear, Brian, this is not a shot at you. I host all of the video files here.
Mm-hmm.
So you're telling me that you can't move your stuff to an adjacent bedroom?
Well, I can, but the main thing I want to do is I need to run I use cable internet here. So I've got to put the cable connection. I got to run it through the floor there, and I got to run Cat5 up the wall. There's just extra stuff that I can do. I'm going to do separately, but I want it to be done so I can drop it in place. Because other than that, it is already. The mounts for my monitors, I'm not very happy with. I have these Asus. They're pretty nice monitors, but they don't have normal mounts on the back. You have to, the mounts that I got to make them work for a stand, like a wall mount.
Oh, they don't have Visa mounts?
No, there's a thing that comes off the bottom, and then you're attaching into the bottom of the stand, and then it comes up.
Ooh.
So I have this 3 monitor mount that then it's pushing them forward, so it makes them closer together to where they are squeezed together in this monitor thing. So I'm thinking of almost looking for a different mount for those, just so that it fits nicely
You should
in there.
Can I make a recommendation? I think you should get rid of those 3 monitors and get 2 widescreen 144 hertz monitors.
Well, the thing is, I have
my
a
life.
really nice, like, I have a really nice 3-screen mount and everything that mounts to the desk. Like, it's really nice, but it's just,
I've been very.
And these
happy.
are really nice monitors too.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. I moved away from my 4 monitor setup, which was 2 16:9s and then 2 4:3s, to these 2 AOC widescreen 144 hertz monitors, 1440p. Super happy with those. They take up a lot less room, and you have a lot more screen. You don't realize how much screen real estate you have, because you can essentially have a full web browser or something on each side of the screen. So you can have 4 things open. I really like, and obviously the high refresh rate, as you're looking at getting a new video card, might be something worth looking at, because I'm sure your monitors now are 60 hertz.
Yeah.
So,
and these I'll have to look, because these I'll look and see if there's other mounts. If not, then I'll try to decide what I'm gonna do. But the ones that I got on Amazon were just, I can get them up there, but it's like you're squeezing and they're pressing. I just don't want them to get damaged.
All right.
So we'll figure it out.
Yeah, heard it here first. So some of you remember back months ago. Actually, at this point, I can tell you exactly the date, Brian, if I pull up my trusty dusty Robinhood app here. And I said, and I don't have the exact quote, but it's irrelevant because it's irrelevant.
Means in the black book it says GameStop will be the most successful stock.
I don't believe I ever said that, but I did say, and this was back. I want to pull this up for the record, because we are the bastion of truth. In August of 2019, on this program, I talked about that I bought some GameStop stock, and everybody mocked me, Brian. They did. You, the chat, the listeners. I had letters written to me, handwritten notes that called me all these mean words. And would you look at this? As we are sitting here live recording this program on a Tuesday, it's a couple minutes towards the bottom of the 7:00 hour. GameStop is trading at $147. That was at the time of the market closed. And in after hours, it is trading at $222. Now, Brian, again, I don't want to seem like a pompous asshole here, but when I bought my GameStop stock in August of 2019, when I recommended people buy it, I purchased my stock for $3.72 a share.
Yeah.
I purchased a couple $100 worth. Now, unfortunately, I'm an idiot as well. This is what we know this about this program. I hopped off the roller coaster at a safe point, Brian. I waited until the roller coaster came into the station and stopped all the way. What I should have done is stayed on for another go-around. I sold at a measly $16 a share, still made a lot of great money, but made nowhere near the $150 or $220 that it is trading at right now. The moral of the story is, first of all, listen to me. That's the first part of the story that's important. The second portion is, don't try to make money selling stocks, because it's a waste of time. The third moral of the story is, don't trust investors and traditional financial people, because they don't know what they're talking about either. Because literally Reddit and Wall Street bets have been squeezing GameStop stock into the freaking stratosphere. This is the highest the stock has ever traded at, ever. It has never traded this high. Its previous high was in the 50s, and that was back in 2007.
Yeah.
So a failing video game retailer, their stock just today was up almost 100%.
Yep. And it's up. It's up more than 1,000% since the beginning of the year. It says.
Yeah.
So
it's crazy. Now, again, I had no idea this was going to happen. So don't let me sit here and fool you. Because again, I sold at and again, I was happy with what I sold at. I made some decent money. I made a couple $100. I bought a couple $100 worth at $3. Sold at 16. Made almost $1,000. Great little investment. It wasn't, I wasn't expecting to. Honestly, it was more for the meme than anything else at the time. And I was like, oh damn, this is a decent amount of money. So let me jump off. I'm not going to do the math here on the show because it will make me upset. But I believe if the stock market opens at this 220 rate tomorrow, I'd have like $15,000 to $20,000, which would be nice. But I don't. And yeah, that's the name of the game. Unlike people from 2008, you will not see me jumping off of a building during a financial crisis. But it is, as Judd says, FOMO, fear of missing out. So yeah, that's what's going on. I can't explain it. I've been watching CNBC and Fox Business the past couple days. I'm watching them talk about the GameStop stock. They have no idea what's happening. We have no idea what's happening. Wall Street Bets is just memeing about it. Literally, they're memeing about it. This guy says that a trader turned $53,000 into $11 million on the stock. I will say this as a cautionary tale.
Mm-hmm.
This will likely never happen again.
Yeah.
So please don't be a jackass and go to Wall Street Bets, look at what they're talking about, and dump $60,000. Let's be clear. Wall Street Bets has been around for years, probably 10 plus years. This is the first time anything like this has ever happened. So this notion that any stock that Wall Street Bet tries to push is going to skyrocket like GameStop is foolish. If you do that, you will lose all your money. And again, I'm no investment expert, but you're foolish to think this is a trend. Their stock has been halted like a dozen times in the past couple days for in-trade day violations. When a stock either goes over a certain threshold or under a certain threshold, trading is paused on the stock. That's how the stock market is built to protect itself from a major crash. So there are systems in place to stop trading. It happened at the beginning of the coronavirus, if you remember. Trading would be halted for 20, 25 minutes at a time back in March, April, May of last year because there was so much uncertainty in the market that to stop a mass exodus of the market, they just clicked the pause button and stopped trading. So it's been interesting to see, woulda, coulda, shoulda. What are you going to do? I mean,
one thing people need to realize, the stock market doesn't generally generate cash. Usually when someone's making money, that means someone else is losing money. So try to remember that.
Well, yes. And it also, a lot of the conversation here is that GameStop is not worth this. No. They are a bankrupt company.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what the fallout of this is going to happen because this has never happened before. We've never seen a failing company's stock get squeezed to such a point that it's worth an astronomical amount when the company is literally in shambles. According to their yearly report, they don't expect to turn a profit for 3 more years. Their stock is trading at $220.
Well, and the thing here is their stock it's tripled to $4.5 billion in 3 weeks. So
I don't know what that means. Like, I don't even know what that means because it's lunacy.
Yeah. But I think there's going to be a huge crash after once this kind of dwindles away. Usually stocks go up.
Yeah. This stock will be trading
stocks go up when people. Yeah. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry. I cut you off.
I was going to say, usually stocks will go up when there's a lot of faith in the company that, either a big announcement is going to happen that's going to cause maybe a product to come out that's going to be very valuable that a lot of people will want, because the company will be bringing in more money, selling a lot of product, whatever it is. There's nothing that's been announced with GameStop. There's no change in GameStop that has happened to do this. This has just been a group of people, or a group that has somehow, triggered this to happen. And I don't know. I personally think it's going to crash at the end, and go back to its old values. I mean, the values are pretty low, so it's not like it's just going to go back to its old values.
Correct. This stock will crash to probably realistically it's $10 to $30 value. And a lot of this has to do with, and again, I wish I knew more about this stuff. Unfortunately, I'm so busy with other projects, working a full-time job, my political involvement, my volunteering stuff I do. I don't know enough about the stock market as I wish I did. And I don't really screw around with it. And maybe it's the conservative in me, Brian, but my investments are in long-term mutual funds and ETFs, not as much in the stock market, because as it is a gamble. Massachusetts is trying to, the Attorney General in Massachusetts is trying to claim that Robinhood, which is the popular trading app that everybody uses, is gambling, like real like slot machine or casino gambling.
Because it made it too easy? Is that what they're saying?
They said that they gamified it. Yes, that's the claim that they're using. That will never hold up in court because it's asinine. But it's been interesting to see. Kenrick says, do you think this might cause a general shake in the market? I don't think so. Because again, it's literally a bunch of autists shorting a stock. The company has no value. The company literally doesn't have the value.
Do you think they might put some more rules in place to prevent this from happening in the future?
So that's the thing I'm the most interested in, is the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission that regulates this stuff, has got to be scratching their head, because if Reddit can short a stock like this and squeeze it to this value, that is a huge flaw. Now, again, I've read a little bit about what caused all this. I don't know how much to believe. It's literally Reddit comments, so I have no faith in those at all. But from what I read, a lot of the shares were already shorted. So most of something like 80-something% of the available shares for the market were shorts. I don't particularly know what that means. I don't, but apparently somebody did. And at this point now Bloomberg has got an article, how Wall Street Bets, which is a subreddit, pushed GameStop shares to the moon. And that is an accurate representation. I saw it all over. It was all over CNBC and Fox Business. As I look at Wall Street Bets right now, hold on a second. Is this real? Hold on a second here. Yes, it is real. So 3 hours ago, Elon Musk tweeted "Game stonks" with a link to Wall Street Bets. So that is only going to make this worse than it is right now, which is a disaster. Yeah. So Elon Musk is tweeting "Game stonk." There's literally Fox Business is posting Reddit comments, random users' Reddit posts. Yeah. I mean, it's just it's crazy. So I have no idea, but yeah, excuse me, it's not the FTC, it's the SEC, the SEC. I don't know what the Security Exchange Commission. Yes, the Securities and Exchange Commission. That's the one that deals with the stock market. And yes, I would assume, Brian, they are going to do something.
Yeah, I can't imagine that this has got to shake them up a little bit to know that people on the internet have the ability to sway market values. What was it, 1,000%?
Yes.
I mean, that's huge.
So
imagine if they did that in the opposite direction, though. Imagine if somehow they could reverse it and take like Apple stock down a huge amount to purchase them, force it somehow down a huge amount. It just, I understand it's easier to push things up because you can, but you could do hypothetically the same thing in the opposite direction. So that's what I think. I would be more concerned about that.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I don't have an explanation. I will tell you this: be cautionary. Make smart financial decisions. I would not necessarily. And again, it's cool to make obviously some people made a lot of money on this, but as you said, Brian, the stock market doesn't create money, so a lot of people have been losing their ass, and will, because at the end of the day, these I think they have 65 million shares, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
These are not long-term holds; these are shorts. So somebody is not going to be able to get off this train at a good price. Somebody will lose their ass on this.
For people who don't understand stocks, everybody can't sell at this price. That's just not how they work. If everybody was selling, the stock would be worth zero.
Exactly.
So, well, interesting. It'll be be interesting seeing the coming weeks. If we get a little more information dug into it and see what knee-jerk reactions government and various entities.
Well, I wouldn't even say it's a knee-jerk. I mean, the SEC's got to be seriously concerned that there are serious legal ramifications to manipulating stocks. I mean, you can serve federal prison time if you're caught manipulating stocks or doing things with stocks with insider information, insider trading. I mean, these are all very serious federal offenses. And I'm not saying anybody that is involved in buying this off Reddit is part of that, but because they're not, they're just buying stocks on Robinhood. I mean, they're not doing anything. But this has got to be, this makes an already interesting market incredibly more volatile. And if you want my long-term prediction, Brian, I think that we will likely be seeing some sort of recession and or stock market crash within probably the next 12 to 18 months. The stock market is currently so high. The Dow and the NASDAQ are so high. It's stupid how high they are, that it only goes down. So if you want my actual 2 cents on it, that's it. That's it. I would not dump my life savings into a failing stock like GameStop, Bed Bath & Beyond.
I'm purchasing right now. I'll get them right now.
That's fine. The next one that they're talking about is BlackBerry, as if that wasn't another one. BB is the stock ticker, a literal company that is out of business. They have a bunch of government contracts, but that's it. So if you want a little advice, short term, maybe look at AMC. They seem to be the most successful group of the bunch. They are apparently working on some serious negotiations with Netflix to do some sort of partnership. I'm not sure that they are going to do. I'm not sure if it. I don't think it's going to do what GameStop did, because that's insane and that's retarded. But I think there's some potential to make some money on AMC. So there's your stock market tip. I gave you some GameStop advice back in 2019. If you took it, great. If not, because I know nobody did, you missed out on it. Again, not saying Infection Podcast has all the answers, but
hey, we got half of them.
Again, what are you gonna do? It would be nice.
You just got to figure out which half to listen to.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad with the $600 I made, or what $800 I made, but $15,000 would have been, nice. So.
A little bit sweeter.
Yeah, whatever. I'm not salty about it at all or anything.
So when I was looking through some news, PC gaming news sites, I found 2 articles at the top that just kind of caught my eye, because I remember, I don't know if you remember back a long time ago when Ninja first started getting popular on Twitch, people gave him a hard time because he did not like streaming with females. And we actually brought this up. I remember there was a time in one of the episodes we brought this up. The fact that he didn't want issues coming up from streaming and getting close and having communication with females on his stream.
Yes.
And a lot of people talked about how stupid that was. And same thing, Mike Pence said the same thing. I don't go have lunch meetings with females. It's just I don't feel it's appropriate out of respect for his wife. Da 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 da.
Without my wife is what he said. Is what he said.
Yeah, without his wife. He doesn't do it alone. And so same thing here. People were giving Ninja a hard time, saying negative things about him because of it. And this once again came up in a PC Gamer article where he had an interview with the New York Times, and they were talking about some of that. And I don't really care so much about that topic, other than right after that, the next article down, there is Scavengers Studio creative director accused of sexual and verbal harassment. And you wonder why people. Now, I have no idea if this person from Scavenger Studio, and if you remember who Scavenger Studio is, first interview of PAX East that we did. Was it the first one? At least of that day, I think.
It was. Oh my God, it was the guy we interviewed.
Yes.
No! No! Why is this? No, that's son of a bitch. That's terrible.
So the person that we interviewed at PAX East,
son of a bitch.
He's accused of perpetuating a hostile, toxic work environment. That doesn't mean that he was. That could mean a lot of things. That could be he says crude jokes.
We didn't interview him. He was the one running the game. We did not.
Oh, okay. So he was one of the other ones he was the one in the background.
Yes.
Okay. We did talk to him, but we did
talk to him.
He wasn't the one on camera.
Okay. Wait, no, I'm sorry. No, we did interview him. I apologize. He looks totally different. He was the main interview. I apologize.
Okay, so it's him. All right. So
you want to watch a minute of this?
Yeah, go ahead. Let's check out. Let's reminisce.
Talking about how this is a futuristic game. There's an
look at young. So this guy right here is the one that has been accused of sexual harassment. Look at him looking at Brian.
He looks scared to death.
Are now having to participate
and look at he's in a jail suit. I mean, it all worked out.
For this game.
He's like this. I have many memories coming back.
There's a game master who is overseeing this.
I want to hear this guy talk.
Going down, we're running out of resource and we're destroying the world. So now we need to reduce
destroying you and
so now every
my
single
office.
crime.
Okay, I'm sorry. That's a serious topic. I apologize. Well, that sucks.
So here's kind of what they're claiming. A report by Game Industry Biz, who spoke in 9 current and past employees, details multiple specific incidents of sexual and verbal harassment dating back to 2018. Must have been after our interview that they just fell apart. These allegations are also describe a generally hostile work environment, especially for women, where employees who were publicly degraded, yelled, and objectified. In one such incident, which happened in 2019, he allegedly got drunk at a company party and groped several female employees. One of these employees groped by him resigned the following Monday, while another left the company soon after. So other accusations, including he openly berated employees, making inappropriate remarks about their appearance, and even holding grudges and refusing to talk to employees that he had felt wronged by, for weeks on end. So that's that issue. But I thought it was interesting, that this is why, that guy, he could be totally guilty. I'm not saying that he's innocent or anything like that, but that is why Ninja does not like doing things, because he doesn't want people to assume. And he says in his interview, he doesn't want the YouTube videos where they say, "Oh, Ninja's been streaming with the female streamer for 3 weeks in a row," and there's something's they insinuate that there's something behind it. He doesn't want that, so he just doesn't do it. So that's
they when we saw them at PAX East, I don't know if you remember this, Brian, there was some pretty attractive females that were with that company.
Mm-hmm. At least one. I remember one for sure. One that was in a prison suit.
They were all in prison suits. It was a good look. Well, that sucks. I hate that. He was
now
super
innocent until proven guilty.
Absolutely, yes. And by the way, it doesn't look like at this point he hasn't stepped down. He hasn't left the company. And again, you got to take these for what they're worth. There's 2 sides to every story. But there's a couple things I want to note. The first thing about a hostile work environment, that I think that tends to be bullshit. Harassment is one thing, especially sexual harassment, but this whole idea of a hostile work environment, that's never really held much ground with me. I think depending on the industry you're in, some industries tend to be more deadline driven than others, and that you may see as a hostile work environment when the reality is that's just the industry that you're in. So that, to me, I'm not a big fan of the whole idea, a generally hostile work environment. That, to me, seems like kind of bullshit. I mean,
one thing,
I don't know.
One thing I found interesting. So I've been watching it at night. I've been watching Night Court, which is way before your time.
The old Night Court show. That's a fantastic
series,
show. That's a great show.
Yeah. So I've been watching Night Courts, and sometimes I'll be watching, and just they make comments, because this is the late 80s, right? If I remember correctly, this is the late 80s that this is happening. They'll make comments, and maybe I think it's late 80s, not early 90s. They'll make comments that nowadays I was like, if they put this on TV, that just like the constant flirting and comments and all this stuff going on in the work environment, that was where it was just totally normal. And then I was watching it last night, and I'm just like, if this was played today, serious, like in a serious note, not just being ironic, the people would just flip out.
It's a great show.
Back then it was humorous, kind of like the two things back and forth between the two different dynamics. Like, it was part of the humor. Nowadays they would be like, that is just horrible.
Let's talk about All in the Family. You want to talk about it real?
All in the Family, married with children as well. I've got Married with Children on my Plex.
That's great. All in the Family's a great show.
I'll have to get some All in the Family. So
I
get them before they're removed from the internet. And
that's an older. That show was like 65 or something. That's an old show. But yes, it is. Go ahead.
I was going to say, after this, there is a new game that they have announced that they're going to be putting out, and we'll just play a quick trailer after we're done with our conversation. Because innocent until proven guilty.
After we're done slandering them here on the program. So yeah, that's unfortunate. Simon was super nice to us at PAX. The game is a Scavenger project, or no, not Scavenger project.
Scavengers Studios is the name of the company.
What's the name of their game?
It was, let's see. Oh, I'm trying to remember
the Darwin
name
Project.
Of it now.
Sorry,
Darwin Project. Yep, that's it.
A lot of fun. Great game. And then you just go on further into the article, and it says, is also accused of being a disorganized leader who refuses to listen to advice from other developers. I mean, okay.
He's the boss. Okay.
Accused of being a disorganized leader. I mean, that's not a crime. That's Brian, I'm accusing you of being a bad co-host. Accusing you. Like, what am I do? Bring legal precedent against you in some way, shape, or form? I mean, that's just stupid. So I don't know if somebody's got
and you'll get people saying all kinds of things if they're upset, about something with the company or frustrated. They're going to say whatever, all those kind of things.
So that sucks. I hope it's not true. Because it's not great. Again, nobody has stepped down from the company. Simon was super nice to us at PAX. And yeah, actually we emailed them. We've emailed them a couple times since. I remember trying to get some keys or something like that. So yeah, that sucks. Hate to hear that. Hopefully it is not true. So there you go.
Now, they did at the Game Awards this past year announce a new upcoming game. So I figure we'll play. I don't think anybody's sort of heard of it. It's not really in our genre, but this is the new game, because that was the first one I think they did as a studio. Yes, was the Darwin Project. And I think this is the second game that they're going to be making, called Season.
Our grandparents lived for 1,000 years, and our parents had a century to themselves. But us, we have one season.
Looks like a walking simulator.
Very anime.
And bike riding simulator. Yeah. Well, it looks. I mean, they're pretty cool. Like atmospheres. It will be on the PS5 and PC, and I think Xbox. So
I like the art style. Very anime-y, which is
as long as they
style I tend to like.
Create enough to keep it interesting. Like whatever your goal is, the art style is very nice. So we'll have to see what it ends up being like. But that is one that they announced, and
Melmo says cell shaded is the definition of that style.
The style, yeah.
I like that style. It's a good look. It looks good. So, that sucks. To hear about that from Scavengers Studios. Hopefully they can get all their differences squared away and get all that stuff resolved. So
they figured it out. Yep.
Yeah, hate to hear that. That sucks. That's not a good situation.
There was some controversy in the past couple of days. Actually,
yes,
with Xbox. And they announced a price change. They said that Xbox Live Gold was going to go up in price, and people kind of freaked out on the internet.
Well, hold on. Before you go,
go
so they raised the price from Xbox Live was, I believe, $69 a year. They changed that price to be $69 per 6 months. So they raised they literally doubled the price of Xbox Live up close to $140 a year. I don't know what the year cost was, but they doubled the price of Xbox Live, which to me is insane. There is Xbox with all these services like Discord and other things around now that even people on consoles use on their phones. And with all the money that they're raking in with Game Pass, this idea that they would hike the price of Xbox Live Gold was, I don't even have a word to describe it. I mean, it's just Xbox was pumping on all cylinders. Everything was going great. Purchased Bethesda, Game Pass is kicking ass. The new Xbox is doing great. And then they're like, let's double the price of our, at this point, and I haven't used it on the new Xbox, but a mediocre live service with, a crappy audio chat system, a crappy group system, a stupid friends list that I've had since 2008 that's got a bunch of people that I don't even know anymore. The fact that they would be charging you almost $200 a year for that is insane. And lo and behold, Brian, turns out when people decide with their pocketbook or make enough of a, not necessarily throw a hissy fit, but say this is enough, Xbox very quickly reversed course within a day, saying today was not great. We always try to do our best for you, and today we missed our mark. We hear you, and we're reversing our Xbox Live Gold pricing updates. So they put a hard reverse on this idea. What would have been cool, Brian, is if they raised the price of Xbox Live Gold and just included Game Pass. That's originally what I thought they were going to do when I saw the new pricing. I said, okay, so Xbox Live Gold is gone. The only thing you can get is Gold, and it's got Game Pass. But that wasn't it. They were literally just raising the price of Gold.
And they did make it to where Gold no longer is required for free-to-play games as well. So that's kind of nice, especially if you have kids. Maybe you're playing Fortnite. The kids are playing Fortnite, and that's all they're playing. I think that would classify under this to not need a Gold subscription. So,
so that is good. Now, that's always one thing that they've always done, which I was always okay with because I was always an Xbox player, was that it didn't allow, you had to have Xbox Live to play anything online, even to use apps like it used to be, even to use an app like Netflix back in the day, you had to have Xbox Live Gold. That was just part of the thing. If you wanted to use any app store, any live services, you needed to have Xbox Live Gold. And again, it was affordable, $69 a year. That's not crazy, especially if you're using it enough. I don't believe I have an active Xbox Live subscription. It's probably on auto renew. Actually, it's probably on an old debit card that doesn't exist anymore. So maybe it's not, but I would not pay $140 a year for Xbox Live. That's just stupid.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I wonder if later they'll try to come back with a little bit of an adjustment, kind of reevaluate, see what they think the market might take. But I think they'll keep away from this for a little while till people forget about it a bit before they attempt to do anything else, because there was quite the reaction to it.
So I mean, so it was going to be 1 month was going to be $11, 3 months it was going to be $30, and 6 months was going to be $60. So the way it is now is a month is $10, 3 months is $25, 6 months is $40, and 12 months is $60. That's how it's been for, they say 18 years. That's how the pricing has been. So yeah, they really, I don't know what the thought was there. I'm not sure why they would try to be, why they would be trying to penny pinch like this. It just seems it's $60 is a price point, Brian, that I think most people, myself included, are willing to spend a year for a service they use somewhat often.
Yeah.
I think that's $50 to $60 a year is like, do I want to spend it? No, but I think when it crosses
over the $100 mark, that's when people start evaluating.
It is
whether or not it's a necessity.
So as much as I shouldn't be paying $60 a year for Xbox Live, and I'm pretty sure I'm not, if I was, I wouldn't be upset about it. Because if I knew if I wanted to go on there and play a Halo or a Call of Duty, I could just turn my Xbox on and play. But at $140 a year, I'm not doing that. I know most people aren't. So, nice to see that when there's enough outrage about something, which there was, that even a company as large as Microsoft is willing to change their course, and hopefully not just them, but Sony and Valve and EA and all these other companies. Hopefully they we're able to learn from Microsoft's disaster here by not going forward with this, because it's just uncalled for. I can't think of a logical reason why they would double the price of their Xbox Live Gold for no new features.
Yeah, I don't know what triggered it, and they've been doing so well with, like, I have the Ultimate, and I don't think that would. So can you tell me the difference between, like, what I get with, because you know more about the Xbox than I do, like with the Ultimate Game Pass, that versus this Xbox Gold, because I have the thing that kind of combines everything, so I don't know
they're two different.
if I'm paying.
Xbox
That's what I'm saying.
Live,
mine's like bundled into my Ultimate price, I think.
So I'm not sure how that works. Xbox Live is just the live services. It's chat, it's multiplayer games, it's a friends list. It's the live service of Xbox. Then Game Pass is the free game service. You're right. Xbox Ultimate, I don't know, that maybe that's
they
part
bundled.
Of it,
they
sure.
bundled like the EA Games thing into it, the Gold, all that into one.
Gotcha.
Price. So that's why I don't know exactly like what I'm paying for each one.
Yeah, and there is a note here. It does say if you were an existing online 12 or 6 month Xbox Live member, there is no price change. If you choose to renew your membership, it will renew at your current price. So I think that was probably just for 1 year. I don't think that was permanent. This may have just been for new users. I don't know how that worked. But yeah, that was their deal. So.
Well, let's go ahead and let's talk really quickly. Just a quick Tencent update.
Yes.
Tencent has purchased another majority stake in a video game company. And I don't know if you guys have ever seen, this is a survival game, is the primary game that this company makes, called Don't Starve. And they have a Don't Starve.
Don't Starve 2. They've got a Don't Starve with Others or something like that. That's a multiplayer version.
Or Don't Starve with Us or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. They've got a bunch of versions.
Or Don't Starve Together. They have Don't Starve, and then
Don't Starve 2.
I think that's what it is. So they have purchased a majority stake in them. So we will see how that affects. One thing that's been kind of nice, like with, for instance, Conan Exiles, I haven't really noticed huge major change in the game. Right? They haven't gone and reinvented it. But they are looking at bringing something like Don't Starve Together to China. It may be, I would assume, that perhaps when the companies approach going into China, maybe part of allowing them into China is giving them either, stock in the company. Who knows what they're doing to get this to happen? But they are now a big part of Tencent. So
Interesting.
that's pretty much it. Now there's another company that is absorbing companies,
and this one's a little bit different, but
a little bit different. So this is Blizzard, and what they've done is absorbed Activision Studios after dismantling the classic games team. So that would be what, Skylander. These are their old titles.
So this is a company that I actually know a lot about because it is headquartered in where I grew up, and I actually went there a couple times. Vicarious Visions, which is an Activision studio. They worked on Skylanders, which was that very successful Xbox game with the little figurines that you place down and then they show up in game. That was very popular. They've worked on Tony Hawk games, Crash Bandicoot. If you do a Wikipedia search for Vicarious Visions and look at their Wikipedia, you can see all of the games that they've worked on since 1996. Spider-Man games in the 2000s, a bunch of PS2 games, SpongeBob SquarePants, Crash Bandicoot 2, more Tony Hawk games, the Shrek games, Spider-Man 2, Doom 3. They've just worked on a boatload of games. A very, very successful Activision studio. And they have been merged now into Blizzard. So they will no longer be working on those first-party Activision games. They are going to be working on games from Blizzard.
Now, do you think, so for instance, were these the guys that worked on the Warcraft 3 Reforged? I wonder.
No, these guys did not do anything with Blizzard.
They had nothing to do that. Okay, I just want to make sure, because that would have been one reason.
They did Destiny 2. They were huge with that. They did all the Guitar Heroes. These guys were massive.
Okay. Well, be interesting to see if they just feel like it maybe with some of those titles they want to start developing them like more like a main title in the main studios. I mean, it'd be interesting to see if we're going to start seeing some of these old games that we haven't heard from a while maybe popping up, or if they're going to be winding them down and not hearing from them again. I would be surprised, because a lot of those were very, like Tony Hawk, they had that kind of thing they were kind of redoing of remastering it. So they're still active. So it'd be interesting to see what
and they've got a bunch of employees. Apparently like 250 employees. I think I actually have a friend that I went to high school with that works there. I'll reach out to him maybe this next week.
And I think they offered for them to interview for jobs elsewhere in the company for some of these things. So we'll see. Yeah. I don't know if they move them around or if they're actually pulling them in as a team.
So, I mean, this is part of, unfortunately, this is sometimes part of mergers and acquisitions. I mean, Blizzard has owned Activision now for a while. I don't know how long. They've been owned by, or how long they've owned Activision. It's been years. It's just part of it, right? Because they own Activision, and Vicarious Visions was a whole subsidiary of Activision. Blizzard wants to restructure it. They've got a game studio in upstate New York with 200 plus employees. And they wanted to work on that.
Well, we'll see. We'll watch the news. Any more pops up about it? But that was a really quick thing I saw go by. Not a lot of details about it. Another acquisition that has happened, and these are by some groups that I don't really know so much, but Opera has acquired Yo-Yo Games.
Yes.
And Opera is the web browser, right?
Yep.
Well, so, I mean, people know what that is, but Yo-Yo Games, they make Game Maker Studio too. That I do know. Like, I don't really necessarily know games that they actually make, but they do make a game maker, which would be interesting if they're going for something, maybe making games in a browser. Wonder where they're going with this. Why Opera web browser is buying a Game Maker Studio, or the company that owns Game Maker Studio. It is for $10 million. So, I mean, in the scheme of things, we're used to seeing much bigger numbers with studios, especially with Tencent and these companies coming into the mix, and Microsoft. But I'm more curious of what are they going to be doing with this? What technology are they hoping to get? And are we going to see them maybe pushing for 2D games, in-browser games being made, and them creating a tool to make it easier to do that, that would make sense because 2D games do make very much sense in web browsers. 3D games do not because of the it's hard to stream those things and make them work. So I'm very curious to see where this goes.
Yeah, and Opera's one of these companies similar to Brave and a couple of these other web browsers that are very big on privacy and security and things like that. I know that Opera has a crypto wallet built in.
Yeah.
So you can use it as a wallet, essentially, your browser. I've never used it.
I think Brave does that as well, if I remember correctly. I have Brave, but I think it's popped up saying it does.
Now, I don't know, again, $10 million, I don't know how Opera makes money. I don't know what the deal is with that. But obviously there's some reason to own it. That's that. I think our friend Amnon sent that to me, and I was like, oh, I'd heard of Opera. I'd never heard of Yo-Yo Games. I'd never heard of this game engine that they make, Game Maker.
Well, I mean, I think I have a license to it, or something I've gotten through a Humble Bundle or something. But yeah, it's pretty cool, but it's definitely simplified. You're not going to make any really ridiculous games from it. So
yeah,
we will see.
Let's talk about a service that you and I know a little bit about. And again, there was very little game news this week. We'll cover some of that in the second half of the show. Plex, which you've been a big proponent of for some time. I've used it for a while, have recently became a Plex Pass lifetime subscriber. They announced a new system today, Brian, called Plex Arcade. Now, by the way, Plex is free, and you actually don't even have to have a Plex server. They offer now free television shows and movies through their own library, but it's the core roots of Plex.
One cool thing about Plex is you can actually use Google Drive and this online storage to store files, and you can use their service to actually be the server, and it will connect directly to your Google Drive to stream your videos.
I did not know that. I will have to check into that.
Yeah.
But the history of Plex is it was originally a media service similar to XBMC and things like that back in the day. And they've since morphed into being a kind of an all-inclusive media experience. Yes, they still support and a lot of their user base still has their own media, but they've added the ability to do live television through TV tuners. They've added their own music, video.
Yeah, so like I subscribe to Tidal, which is kind of like Amazon Music, where you can subscribe to the hi-fi version, so it's higher quality versions. But yeah, so they have a very, very, very good music streaming service. And then I also do over the air. I use it as a DVR, and then it has, as Nick said, the internet TV things, and then it has this arcade, which I did sign up for. Found out I can't use yet. Kind of disappointing.
So yes, so let's talk about that. So it's called Plex Arcade. It's going to be built into a new version of Plex. I don't like that you have to pay for it, even if you have Plex Pass. It should be free if you have Plex Pass.
No, it is discounted. It's discounted.
But it should
Plex
be
Pass.
free.
But the thing is, it's because it's a third-party service providing this. So this is with Parsec, I think is the name of the company.
It is. So the way that this works is they're throwing in a bunch of Atari games for free, and you're allowed to bring your own totally legal and not torrented ROMs and emulators to the service. But the way that it works, who would do that? Yeah, I mean, everybody's got legit ROMs. The way that it works is rather interesting, though. So what you do is sign up for a Parsec account, which is a remote desktop system and service, that is highly optimized for real-time use. Lots of video editors, and actually their big selling point is video editing, game development, things that require a high-performance workstation,
high response. Yeah,
but you can also use on a crappy laptop. You can just use this service and then remote into your system. It's hell of a lot more intuitive than AnyDesk or TeamViewer or RDP or something like that. So what I believe, Brian, and I don't know this to be true, I believe the reason this needs to run on Windows Server is the game is actually going to run on your computer, and then it is just going to parsec it to your device. That's what I believe it's doing. So Plex isn't really
because they actually
doing
have
anything
on there that you need certain kinds of video cards, and things like that. So that I was hoping to try it out, but it doesn't let me add the game section to mine just because I'm running Linux right now. It is Mac OS, and Windows servers can support this, but not Linux at the moment. They do have a Linux client on their website, but I think personally, what I think the issue is they have a Linux client for very specific versions of Linux.
Yes.
It doesn't match up to the versions of Linux that Plex supports. And I think that's where they're kind of struggling is, all right, we'll have a small fraction of our Plex users that have the ability to use this, but not everyone.
Yeah. So the concept is cool. I think it's a little off base. I'm not sure many people are running Plex servers on Windows or Mac. Any serious person that's running Plex is likely running it on some sort of Ubuntu box or something equivalent, or a lot of people run Plex on NASes because they come with Plex servers built in, like the Synologies and some of those devices. You can literally install and run Plex on those. So there you go. Judd says he's running his on a Synology. Mel's running his on a WD Cloud, My Cloud.
Yep.
Seems a little off base. I bet you it sucks because it's streaming it over the internet, even on your local network, even using Parsec. The built-in library is garbage. I mean, it's literally a bunch of old, crappy Atari 2600 games. And Brian, I think there's an alternative for this. I mean, there's a whole bunch. First of all, I mean, there is already, these arcade box or so distros that are available to be running. I don't think you're going to be playing this on your phone. That's one of their use cases. I don't think you'd be doing that. And honestly,
I'd be doing it like on a Fire TV because I have a controller that connects to my Fire TV, and I can try this out.
But apparently, it doesn't.
Or even pull up the app on my phone.
But it doesn't support all. It doesn't support all devices. For example, it doesn't support Roku. It doesn't support Apple TV. It is,
which is definitely an issue.
It is a huge issue because that's a whole. I mean, you don't support Linux. You don't support Roku or Apple TV. That's got to be like 80% of their user base.
I'm actually looking at switching to Roku. I ordered a Roku today because I want to get away from Amazon. So
I have the biggest hard-on for Roku. I have had their devices for years. And did you get the nice one, the 4K one?
I got the Roku Ultimate or the Roku,
the Ultra?
Whatever their top one was. The Ultra, yeah. I think that's it.
You will be.
I wanted the one that seemed like it had the most features.
It's like $80, yeah.
89.
You will be flabbergasted with how good the Roku is compared to the
it's the Roku Ultra 2020 is the one that I got.
So that's what I've got in my living room. I've got a Roku 3 here in the office and the Roku Ultra in the living room. Phenomenal device. In my opinion, it's always blown the Amazon products out of the water. But back to this thing with Plex, it doesn't support it just doesn't support most use cases. So to me, seems kind of stupid. I hate the idea that you have to pay for it, even if you have Plex Pass. I think that's bullshit. So yeah. That's all. I don't know anybody that's going to use this or why you would use it, frankly. But if you're interested, Plex Arcade, it's plex.tv/arcade. If you have a Windows server and meet the requirements, and try it, would you let us know? Because I'd be genuinely curious. It just doesn't seem like it doesn't seem like a good fit.
Well, yeah, and it was now if you had their season pass, it put it down to $2.99 a month, which I was willing to pay.
Yeah,
but when it doesn't support anything that I'm to be using, it kind of takes away. So I just canceled it immediately right after.
Did you get a refund?
Yeah, I mean it didn't. They have a free trial, so I was still in the trial, but I just canceled it because once I went on there and said this isn't compatible to your device, I just went and canceled it right after.
Awesome. You want to talk about you want to do some video games here after we announce our game giveaway?
Sure. Let's go ahead and if you type exclamation point giveaway in chat, and this is going to be a 60-point raffle, I am giving away a copy of Song of Horror Complete Edition. And this is a survival horror, adventure horror, third person. I'll put a link to the Steam page. This has very positive ratings on here. It was put out just over a year ago, and it seems like a very interesting, visually very interesting. It's very dark, but it looks like an interesting game that hopefully people might enjoy. So
there you go.
We'll give this away here in about 45 minutes.
Absolutely. And if you're not joining us here live, maybe you're watching on a rerun on YouTube or BitChute or somewhere else. We are here live most every Tuesday night around 7 p.m. Eastern time. Runs about 2 hours. We've got a chat, getting feedback from them, and obviously the opportunity here to win some free video games. So can't complain about that. Let's talk about Cyberpunk, Brian. They released a huge update. This has been their largest update since the game came out. This was their 1.1 patch, and there's a whole bunch of things in here. In terms of stability, memory usage improvements in various systems within the game, including the character interactions, navigation, in-game videos from the news, TV, etc., foliage, laser effects, minimap devices, AI, street traffic, environmental damage systems, GPU-related, and more. So memory usage improvements all over the board. Various crash fixes related to, among others, loading saves, game opening closings, and point of no return. In terms of quests in open world, they fixed a bunch of things in here. They fixed an issue where calls from the Delamain, which is the cab service, would end immediately and seem like they cannot be picked up as part of that quest. They fixed an issue where players would not receive the call from the Delamain when approaching relevant vehicles in that same quest, which actually I did all those quests and never had any problem, just saying. Fixed an issue where the objective could get stuck on answer the call from Mr. Hands in one of the quests. Fixed an issue where, and I don't think any of these are spoilers, but I'm going to be careful with these, where Judy could teleport underground during a quest. Fixed an issue where it would be impossible to talk to the Zen Master in one of the quests. Fixed an issue where Takomara, which is one of the protagonists you deal with, wouldn't call during a quest. Fixed an issue where Jackie could disappear in one of the quests. Fixed an issue where it could be impossible to get out of the car in a quest. That would be an interesting one. Fixed an issue where players could stop receiving calls and messages after moving too far away from a quest area. Fixed an issue where opening the package wouldn't update a quest. Retrofixed the saves affected by a rare issue where speaking to Judy in a quest would be impossible due to an invisible wall. The underlying issue is under investigation. Fixed an issue that prevented players from collecting the reward in a quest. The quest will autocomplete for those who could not collect the reward previously, and the reward will be provided automatically. And then fixed an issue where the Delamain would remain silent throughout the quest if a player initially refused to help him. So those are all the quests and open world fixes. The UI, they fixed an issue where prompt for an existing brain dance could be missing. Exiting, I had this issue all the time. I always had to look up what key it was because it never showed me the exit key for brain dances. Huge pain in the ass. Removed an invalid item from the loot. Visually, they fixed an issue where grenade trajectory could be displayed in photo mode. Fixed particle hues appearing pink when being viewed up close. Fixed cars spawning incorrectly in the reported crime quest. Achievements, they fixed an issue where completing one of the assaults in progress in Santo Domingo, which is a region of the map, would sometimes not contribute toward the progression of a quest, which would prevent it from you being able to complete it. Some miscellaneous things address the issue responsible for saves getting oversized. We talked about this before. This had to do with crafting, and trimmed the excess size of already existing save files. Note that this will not fix PC save files that were corrupted before the 1.06 update. So if you had an original update, an original game that got a corrupt save because it was too large, you're SOL. It's not going to be fixed. But for anybody going forward, they've got some fixes for that. PlayStation specific performance optimization of the crowds on the PlayStation 4 Pro and PS5, and various crash fixes on the PS4. Xbox specific improved memory usage for character creation, mirrors, scanning, camera remote control, menus, the inventory map on the Xbox One, Xbox One X, and Xbox One S. PC specific things, it will now be possible to obtain achievements while in Steam offline mode. Note, offline mode needs to be enabled before starting the game. This change does not work retroactively, so you'd have to go back and get those achievements. And then another one was addressed the game startup crash related to loading cache on NVIDIA graphics cards. And then Stadia specific. I forgot, Brian. This game is a Stadia.
Oh, yeah. I love those
Didn't
guys.
even totally forgot. Corrected. Concert audio should no longer be inaudible. Fixed corrupted textures in several melee weapons, and tweaked default dead zone settings to be more responsive. Note this change will not affect settings unless they are defaulted. So, pretty large update. Seemed to fix a lot of quest issues. That brain dance, leaving the prompt for exiting the brain dances is huge. That one always bothered me. It was never game breaking. I just had to look up what key it was. But yeah, they fixed a bunch of quests. So onward and upwards,
Now,
right?
One issue is this actually created a game breaking glitch.
Oh,
So this is kind of an issue. People have been waiting for this big patch because they said this is going to be the biggest patch. The other ones were more like hot fixes, as you had mentioned before. And the problem is it's caused more problems. So I guess for some places this probably has stabilized some more things, but it has made it to where, like, down the street mission, you get stuck and then nothing comes out of it. Now, this isn't the end of the world. I mean, unless you're at that point and you're sitting there and you can't really play. But I'm sure this is something they can quickly go through and patch. But there is somewhat of a workaround that you can do. So this is actually from CD Projekt Red. They said load an older save file before you guys leave this office, and then you finish up the conversation within the outside of the office. Right after the conversation and the quest progress updates, skip 23 hours. That then triggers the holo call. Yes. And then you get the correct conversation. So they do have kind of a way if you're paying attention, but there's plenty of people probably that have hit this point, been running around and can't get it to trigger to go to the next section. So
yeah. So
that one, a small fix, but I'm sure that they'll have this patched if it's not already. I haven't seen that it's patched already, but I can't imagine them letting. And this happened 3 days ago. So,
all right,
we will see.
So
yeah, Cyberpunk. There's one more thing from Cyberpunk. They have introduced their official modding support now, so it'll be interesting to see, because I think a lot of people were relying on what they used to mod some of the old, Witcher and things like that. And so this is actual tools so that people can get all the information about items and just a lot of different things about the game to make it easier to correctly make the mods and have access to everything. So,
and that's on their website. There'll be a link in the show notes to it, but it's an official thing on their website. And I know I was talking about our buddy Melmo, and he said he's been playing with some mods, and has been enjoying it. So I haven't personally dabbled into that at all yet. But I know some people that have and seem to be really enjoying it. So if you're not thrilled with your experience, obviously you can wait it out, but take a look at some of the mods. And if you are playing with mods, if you'd let us know, I'd like to be able to pass that along to our audience here. So.
Well, and that's the one thing is some people, they actually put out mods that fix some of the quest bugs.
Yes.
So that's the nice thing about PC. That's one thing that is nice about the PC and mods is some of those ones that CD Projekt Red never gets to. They did this in Witcher 3. You can download mods that actually fix a lot of the weird little glitches and some quests that for them they don't find is worth fixing and taking their time on yet. So this will be fun to see what kind of big patches come out that actually fix all these, and hopefully they continue fixing them so that people on consoles can not have to deal with them.
Yeah, and it is great to see that CD Projekt Red and hopefully others follow suit are very much embracing the modding community. That's a wink, wink, Rockstar. But it's nice to see the most anticipated game of 2020 fully embracing and making modding tools available for their game and for the community. It's unheard. It really is unheard of from a studio and from a game this size. So that's great to hear. Yep. Let's skip down a little bit to a quick Rust video, if you don't mind, Brian. Sure. We have a short update from our friend Shadowfrax this week on everybody's most popular survival video game, and that is Rust.
Greetings, survivors and friends. Shadowfrax here with a rapid-fire update because I'm extremely busy today and only have a few minutes to get all of this information to you, so listen very carefully. I shall say this only once. It's not easy being in demand, is it? You're absolutely right there, but you're doing your best, and that's what matters. Always a pleasure. Never a chore. Right, so Twitch drops are still active. There were a second round of streamers involved. Whatever. No free advertising for you. Let's face it, you're really interested in these ones, aren't you? Yes, Nebula trousers. Same for the hoodie. A nice, ornate tempered revolver skin and this fantastic, totally generic brand kitten face mask. And you can see how long you need to have a browser window open for all of them by pausing the screen here. The big splendid of this week's changes, though, has to be a major, major quality of life change that could actually make the difference between you having a life that can have its quality improved or not. Over on staging, right now you'll notice that deploying a key lock will result in it auto-locking for you, so no more fumbling around with pie menus while someone tries to stick a spear up your bum. What a time to be alive. Oh, and did the position of the lock on the door change? I think it did. I think I like the old one better. There were a couple of server and client updates pushed this week for some small fixes for exploits and projectile invalids. They're optional, but recommended, a bit like underwear. Talking of which, there's now a suicide option on the escape menu. How kind! Although for your safety it'll only appear when you're actually connected to a server. There were a number of fixes this week, including fingers clipping through Thompsons when admiring them, metal shop fronts preventing construction placement in certain builds, a fix for items losing their skins when their stack is split, such as with satchel charges, pressing tab whilst in the F1 menu will now flick back and forth betwixt the two most recent tabs, and finally, if you've got a sofa, you can now wield weapons threateningly from it because porches and shotguns, I guess. In works in progress, there's a ton going on, including more work on the work cart, train tunnels, new AI system, the HDRP backport, Happis Rescue, Steamworks experimental branch, something about game modes, have to wait for more info on that, something else about poison, as if the island wasn't dangerous enough, and an absolute crap ton of hidden commits, so something is definitely going on. And I'll bring you as much info as I can on it as soon as I know and am allowed to say. Oh, and by the way, team and subject to change. Thanks for watching. Hope you don't mind the data burst today. Normal service should return next week. Leave a like, subscribe to the channel, follow me on Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, Discord, support me on Patreon, or by buying a shirt, and I'll catch you all soon. But in the meantime, keep calm and stay rusty. Cheerio!
All right, cheerio to our friend Shadowfrax there. I caught it right before the... I got you now, you son of a bitch. Now I know exactly how long that is. Perfect. Good update there from Shadowfrax. Quick one. Now, he did say he was incredibly busy, which to me, and maybe this is me not knowing anything about the situation, is that he's hopefully working on something for the Rust team.
Yes, that's what
he does so much... Or not so
much, wonder if
but
they're working on a big announcement of something, possibly.
Yes, hopefully they're working on something. Hopefully, yeah, I mean, either way, it's work and that's good. But hopefully he's working on something big for in-house for Rust, because he does their official video. From what we understand, he still does their official videos and whatnot. So hopefully that's the case. So maybe something big in the future. Who knows?
We will see. I mean, who knows if he? Well, I'm not sure what other things he actually does. I know he does like streaming and YouTube videos, but I think Rust is probably one of his bigger things that he does. So I'd assume if he's pulling away from things that are making him money, he will be working for something that makes him more money, which is probably a big Rust thing. So we will
hopefully
see.
Yes.
All right. Do you want to? Do you care where we go from here?
No, sir.
All right. So let's talk. We'll quickly go through one thing here. There was an announcement, or actually something that Gabe Newell had said, of course, our overlord Gabe Newell of Steam, and he was talking about how they currently have multiple games in development and he says he wants to do more single player games. And of course, Alex was one of the ones we talked about that last week. Single player game, Half-Life, and they have a decent number of single player games, but they also have The Last of, or was it not Last of Us? They have Left 4 Dead, which is a multiplayer co-op game.
Does have
so they do
single
have a lot
player,
of those.
You can play it alone.
It does have the ability to, you can do single player, but it has the ability to do co-op as well. And you can do kind of weird online versus others, where they're monsters and you're humans. So, but yeah, I was more interested in the fact that they currently have multiple titles being developed, and they very rarely talk about any of these. Usually keep them very secret until things are released. But I've been curious, like, are we finally going to see maybe a point where they're going to release the 3s of everything? Portal 3, Half-Life 3. Maybe on new gen consoles.
I mean, maybe. But outside of Portal and Half-Life, I wouldn't call any of the other ones single player. I wouldn't call Left 4 Dead a single player game. It's a majority of co-op. Even Portal, if you want to look at, Portal has got a co-op as well. So that I don't know. Well, and
didn't these guys purchase the people that did
Campo Santo?
You have a shirt for them, Campo Santo, yes. And they had a game that was in development when they got purchased. That was, a decent way through development at the time that company was purchased. And we haven't heard anything about it. So that could be a game that they're actually going to roll out now.
So if you remember back a couple months,
they said they shut it down, right? But
then they said they didn't. And that game was son of a.
I'm trying to remember. Gods of something. Gods.
I'll find it.
Campos
in the Valley of Gods.
In the Valley of Gods, yeah.
And there was a. We thought it was stopped because they said it was, and then they came back a couple months ago and we talked about it, and they said no, it's still in development. So yeah, I would assume that's one of them because they did.
So I'm saying that could be a hint at one of them that are there, but what else does Steam have to do with their money? So you figured they'd be developing more. I know they have been pushing hard for VR and everything. Do you think that maybe they're realizing that there's not a huge market in VR yet?
There actually is a huge market. There's no good games. That's the problem with VR.
I mean, they created one of the only good games there were, so they know exactly what the numbers can be. Maybe they don't feel that that's worth it, or maybe they're going to come out with a couple more VR games.
I think they
created the only one that seemed like it was worth playing.
I want to get a VR system.
No.
If anybody, any of our listeners have VR, will you please reach out to me on Discord, because I've got.
And I'm pretty sure, like Firebomb, for instance, I've heard him talk about his VR, so I know we have some people that actually have them.
I've got this older i7. It's an i7 4900K. It's a nice CPU. I'm hopefully updating to a 3000 series GPU here, soon TM. So I'll have a 1070 available, which I think is a perfect, is a more than capable card for running VR, and I've got a bunch of space in my living room to run it. So. Jonesy says he's got one. Jonesy, I'll hit you up this week. I've got some questions about what system, because I know there's the Quest system that is all standalone, but then you have to buy the games on the Oculus store, and it's tied to Facebook, which I'm not gung ho about. I don't like Facebook. I don't like the idea that you have to use a Facebook account. I think that's bullshit. So I've got some questions. So if anybody's got a VR system, would you just hit me up on Discord or maybe on Gab if you're on there? and let me know. I'm genuinely curious. So that's something I want to dabble into soon. TM.
Cool. Very good. So that is a little bit of Valve news. Don't usually hear much from them. Another one, there's been an update for a game that we've been waiting for called Chernobylite.
Yeah.
Remember us playing the videos, had a very cool atmosphere, very unique look. And so they were talking about the Chernobylite premiere. You can add it to the wish list. It was supposed to be coming out January 21st, yet still says add to your wish list. So here's a little bit of an update. Since the Kickstarter campaign early access premiere in 2019, we've been constantly and openly showing you our work progress by updating the game with mega patches, by patching it, fixes, minor updates, etc. By weekly reports and daily publications on our social media channels. The time has come to share something that deserves special attention. So first of all, that despite the pandemic hitting the world pretty hard, we were developing the game right on schedule. Hey,
that's great.
That.
Wow.
It's not an excuse. But then again, we will have to wait for the final PC version until Q2 of 2021. Why is this good news? Our plans have grown bigger. So rather than saying we're shrinking everything, COVID, these guys are expanding it. We have decided to hold the premiere and not to focus on delivering additional content after the premiere. So the most crucial reason behind this decision was that to be able to translate the game into more languages than they previously promised. So that is one thing that they're looking at doing.
So this is great news. So what they were going to do, Brian, I think, and I'm fearful of what they were going to do, is a similar launch to We Happy Few, which is they slowly roll out parts of the story. That doesn't work for a single player game because you have to constantly restart your game over and over and over again. It's stupid. It doesn't make any sense. So they're saying here that they have focused on deliver. They are not going to deliver additional content after the premiere. So they're not. So they're gonna have it to where
all the languages are on there, all the voiceovers, everything is going to be complete when they release, rather than kind of patching it in throughout the coming months.
Because that doesn't work on a single player game.
No. Yeah, because you don't want to have to go, and that's what I found with We Happy Few. I struggle to go play it again because I've played the beginning quarter of the game so many times that I get frustrated. I don't want to go play it again. Because for me to get to the point where it would be new content for me is just hours worth of just playing the same thing. So that's very frustrating. So I totally understand not wanting to do that, and I support it. The second piece of news that they have is that most of the team, which doesn't take part in the translation business, will not be idle during this. So they promise you that Chernobylite will have their constant support and development during this time, even after they leave early access. And they said they're going to prove it. So moving premiere to quarter two, simultaneously, we're creating new content and gameplay elements that previously were supposed to be published as DLCs. So those DLCs are now going to be put into the main release while they do all of those translations and everything. So the version that you get will be bigger, have more content because of this, in spite of COVID. And so this will be interesting. This is definitely, we haven't heard this from other companies. Everything's been, we have to wait. We're cutting out features. We can't do as much. And here they're actually going to be putting all their DLCs into one thing and having it all complete on release. That's a new thought. Who would have thought?
So I mean, you can buy it now. It's an early access game. You can jump in there, but their quote unquote premiere with the final game is got pushed back just a couple months. I don't know how much of this is lip service, Brian, or how much of it is real. But I'll tell you what, if it's an accurate post, it's fantastic news. It's just going to mean a better game for the end consumer. They didn't really make any excuses. They just said, hey, instead of releasing the game in quarter one and then having to scramble for 3 months to add localization and quality of life, we're just going to delay the game by 3 months and just add all those things before the premiere or the launch per se, when they leave early access. So, looks like a fun game. I don't know if I'm going to buy it now to save a couple bucks or not. Probably not. But it does look like a fun game. I like, as our Lord and Savior Gaben said, single player games. There is I think a real need for them. Cyberpunk has been very successful and popular. The most recent couple Doom games are single player, have been incredibly popular. Red Dead Redemption, incredibly popular as a single player game. There is still a market and I think a lot of money to be made in a good Campo Santo. We just talked about it, in a good single player game. They made The Forest a 4.5 hour single player game, and then Valve bought them. Yeah. I mean, just think about how crazy that is. They made literally a 4-hour. Yes, I'm sorry. No, not The Forest. Firewatch. Yes. They made a 4-hour video game. 4 hours was the playthrough time. 4 and ish. And then they were purchased by Valve. So to this idea that every game's got to be the Chronicles of Illyria, and we've got to have 17 versions of the game playable on BBSs from 1980, and the largest world you've ever seen is bullshit. It doesn't. Yeah. There is still, Brian, what's the acronym? KISS? Keep it simple, stupid. There is still a lot of room in the gaming industry for KISS. And I think I tend to prefer simpler games. Maybe it's because I don't have the attention span or the need or the want. But sometimes a single player game like Doom, where you literally follow the objectives, shoot things, and listen to some heavy metal as you're, cutting zombies in half or demons in half, is very refreshing. So that's my story. I'm sticking to it.
All right, so let's talk really quickly about a game that a lot of people have it because it's in the Game Pass, but Sea of Thieves. They're putting out a Game Pass for this. I know they've had cosmetics and things that you could purchase, dogs and cats and various
you mean a DLC? Or they're doing a Game Pass for the Game Pass?
They're doing a Game Pass for Sea of Thieves.
So the Sea of Thieves is in the Game Pass, and then there's also a Game Pass inside of Sea of Thieves.
Sorry. Yeah, there's a Game Pass inside of Sea of Thieves. So Sea of Thieves is part of the Game Pass. So you can play it under your Game Pass. But then inside of it, they're having a season pass kind of a thing that you can do.
Does this not seem like an Xbox One X versus an Xbox Series X? Microsoft seems to have a problem with this, Brian. They can't.
Well, I mean, they're
anything.
calling it. The problem is they're not giving it official. They're calling it seasons. That's all they're calling it.
Christ.
So now they have seasons. Of course, seasons cost money to do. So let's go into it really quick. First of all, seasons explained. So they did a couple of things where they're explaining these things. There is a video. Actually, do you want to play the video first? Because it's going to cover a number of things that we're going to discuss, and we might as well have them explain it, and then we can give a little bit of input onto this.
Let's take a look, matey.
Gather your crew and get ready to plot a course for even more rewarding adventures.
Give us your
as
money.
we explore Sea of Thieves Seasons.
We're going to thieve your money.
In Sea of Thieves, each season brings players 3 months of new features, events, and updates, as well as a whole new way to progress and earn rewards as you play the game. And while your journey towards pirate legend still depends on your reputation with the trading companies, earning renown throughout a season depends on living your best pirate life. All of the deeds you do in Sea of Thieves will help you to progress through a season, from sailing to a new island, battling sinister skellies with your crew, to digging up precious loot. You'll earn renown for the adventures you undertake and the challenges you complete, all helping you to progress through the 100 levels available each season. As you climb through the levels, you'll unlock fantastic rewards, including gold, doubloons, and cosmetics for your pirate and your ship. And Pirate Legends can unlock additional exclusive cosmetics too, giving them ample opportunity to lord their legendary status over other pirates. And if you're eager to progress even faster, you can do so by overcoming trials. Trials are a series of varied challenges within each season that all pirates will be able to take part in. They'll give you a whole boatload of new adventures to embark upon, with plenty of opportunities to prove yourself as a master of the seas. And you can track your progress throughout a season by exploring the new Pirate Log menu. Here you'll be able to view your level, all of your unlocked and upcoming rewards, as well as information on all available trials. Each season in Sea of Thieves will last for around 3 months, during which we'll continue to release new events, daily deeds, and regular rewards. So there's always something to do for pirates of all persuasions. Each season will bring new updates to the game too, with quality of life changes, new additions to the Pirate Emporium, and all new features, events, or voyages. All players, regardless of skill level, playstyle, or crew size, can enjoy seasons in Sea of Thieves. And unlocking the rewards for all 100 levels is free. Just play the game, earn renown, and reap the rewards. And for pirates that want to get a little extra for their escapades, you can buy the new Seasons Plunder Pass. This optional add-on gives you access to 11 premium rewards from the Pirate Emporium each season, and includes some never-before-seen items. Cosmetics that debut in the Plunder Pass will remain exclusive throughout the season, before eventually heading to the shelves of the Pirate Emporium as separate purchases. The Plunder Pass is available for purchase at any point throughout the season, and any rewards that you've earned enough renown to unlock are available right away. So get ready to experience your adventures in a whole new way and revel in the rewards of living the pirate's life as we begin our newest journey with Sea of Thieves Seasons.
Okay. Coming January 28th, so here in a couple days. Yeah, I mean, I'm not
Makes
not
sense
a big,
for that type of game.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of this pass systems personally. But then again, I don't play Sea of Thieves, so I'm not one to necessarily.
Personally, I like them more than the crate system. Personally, I like knowing what you can get and having it to where if you put in time, you can get everything. It's not down to luck.
Okay, I will give you that. I'll agree with that.
So that's pretty much their Plunder Pass. So they have their seasons now, which you saw. They do this opposite of how a lot of them do, like Rocket League and I think even Fortnite, where they're giving pretty much a reward every level on the free one, and then they only give you 11 things extra for the paid version. Now they're supposedly legendary, but these are all skins. So yeah, I just thought it was kind of odd. They did it a little bit the opposite. Rather than giving the people that pay a huge amount more, they're giving the people who pay 11 items more, which is just different. So
agreed. So yeah, I mean, but I don't play the game, so not anything crazy for me. But I'll agree with you, Brian. I agree. It's better than a key or a loot box or something like that system.
So, all right. And then they had speaking of pirates and games on the water, Atlas did a Q&A, and they answered some questions, but they also had some teasers of things coming up. They have a nice little image of Seahorse, which is a rideable mount that you can do. It's cool. An underwater mount. Yeah. So that'll be pretty cool.
Doesn't really look like a seahorse though. I mean, aren't seahorses like
you got a mini? Yeah, it's not. It's like they did a mix of like a real horse and a seahorse.
Looks like a dragon.
So if you look, yeah, I mean, you look at the face; it's kind of a mix of a dragon or a weird horse type of thing. So yeah, they did kind of a hybrid object.
Yeah, I guess seahorses themselves are rather boring creatures. Like they just have that little screw tail, and yeah, I don't know.
So I was figuring to go through some of the questions that people have been asking. Some of these are silly, but some of them are actually serious. So what is the next step in the new ship Lego project? For now, we will continue to make unique ships built with the growing selection of unique modules. Further down the road, we are looking into allowing players to buy and craft their own modules and build their own ships. Will the team be addressing and nerfing large wall spamming? And they say, yes, this is on the list. With the progress of the claim, how is the progress of the claim system? Are you able to reveal more details of it now? So while the focus of the game is indeed to get more focus on the sea, we can't ignore the land play. The new claiming system is an attempt to balance land play and make it more fun. In general, the team has found Band-Aid on top of Band-Aid in this department, and we want to remove those layers and get to a cleaner code base and more fun gameplay. I was saying, any plans for new servers or modes? Yes, we have a lot of things planned. We have hit upon a theme for the game that we really like, and lots of other wonderful things that are really going to make the game pop in 2021. To answer your question a bit more, I can tell you that we're beginning designs for small temporary worlds that you get via Maelstrom that appear on the map. They will only be available for a bit of time and will typically have something cool on them. This is really early, but lots of more really cool stuff in the works. So it sounds like islands that pop up that have unique things on them. Someone asked about armored docks. Yes, that's a plan. You can close some of your NPCs and things. Can you tell us more about the direction of tames and breeding? And for now, we're looking at cleaning up some of the tame system and adding some more tames to the water, probably things from Ark. Beyond that, it's fuzzy. The more work we put into tames the more people want to stay on land. But the tame system is only a fraction of what is possible. So it seems like that's why they're kind of holding off on it. When will there be a sale/revert balance and perhaps a buff to the weight sales to make them more usable? They said a major overhaul of the sales system is in the books. And then, they put a final note in here. Again, we were looking to emphasize that Atlas is still in early access. And so a lot of these things will change. Don't hold them to whatever they say. But they're still pushing forward with it. Still don't think it's in a point where I would be interested in playing it. But, they're going to a better direction. Because when we played it, there was very little trajectory of being able to continue playing it long term.
Yeah, they were in a bit of a, to borrow a term, Brian, they were in a bit of a dark winter for a period of time, and they seem to be coming out of their hibernation, maybe. All right.
We can, let's go ahead and, let's talk really quickly about Fortnite. And they have an update, and of course their battle pass, for them, they're in season 5 of their battle pass, but they added something to this, and there's a quick little video of it if you want to play it, and then there's not a lot of details to it.
All right. Is it Jurassic Park?
Nope.
Oh no. It's Predator.
Yep.
Nice.
They've added a lot of various skins to this. So this is their Predator skin. They've been adding a lot of what seems like odd things, but I guess they're getting licensings for these things, and you can purchase the Predator skin. And it comes with different variations, gun skin, all kinds of other stuff.
Who owns the Predator? Let's see. It's not like 20th Century Fox, maybe? I don't know how they're.
Makes you wonder
how do they do all these deals? I really don't. I really don't understand. It's quite.
They must throw money at them.
It's the only logical explanation to it.
Well, one of my sons, he bought the Joker pack. He bought, he loves these skins, and so people purchase them.
You mean you bought it?
Well, no, he asked for V-Bucks and things for Christmas from various people. I didn't give him V-Bucks. I know better than that. But
you're not a sucker. Huh.
So he enjoys purchasing these things, and that's his thing, getting the emotes and whatever.
As much as we talk about it, it's really not a new thing. I remember back to the Club Penguin days, which I know, Brian, us Zoomers deal with that. There was a little, you were getting hit on in AOL chat rooms by old men. So that wasn't quite your era of computers, but
it made it out alive, at least.
Yeah, you lived to tell the tale. That was a pay. I'll remind you for this, and again, this is for the mid 20s crowd. That was a monthly subscription that my parents paid for.
Yeah.
So my parents paid. I don't know how much it was. $6, $7, $8, $9, $10 a month. I'm sure they could remind me how much money they wasted on Club Penguin. But that had an in-game currency system that you had to get. You could buy physical things and then redeem a code and get it. Look at Xbox Live with the freaking point system. This is not a new concept. It's just they have done it so well, and they've made so many things that people want that everybody gets pissy, but it's not a new concept.
Even the fact that they have taken the dances to a level where people pay money just to have a special dance in the game for their character. And they're getting good licensing. So there's the one that he just got has a song that goes with it, and then he does a special dance move. They've taken it to the next level and made it to where it's something people actually care about and want. And that's why Fortnite still is, for having been on the top of the charts for this type of a genre. They've been in at least the top 2 since they've come out. And so they're definitely doing something right. And I think a lot of other companies base what they end up doing on what Fortnite does. It seems like a lot of places kind of trend a little bit behind Fortnite, of whether it's making movement faster, having revives. Now they were not the first with the revives, but they were one of the first with revives. I think, we had, was it Apex? Was that the first? No, well, okay. PUBG had revives.
No,
But I'm talking about
no.
like but there's one
Apex
where
was
you
the
went to a
first.
special area. Well, didn't PUBG had it where you could pick up somebody, but it wasn't after they were dead you could revive somebody. Because Apex was the first one to have it to where a dead character, you could do something to bring back a dead character, not
Yes.
one that had been knocked down.
Correct.
And then Fortnite quickly did it afterwards, and now that's becoming more of a standard thing, so people can get back in the game and keep going.
Yeah. So, and again, the other big thing, Brian, is if you don't want to spend $1, you can still play the game to its full extent, full feature, with people that have invested thousands of dollars, and your experience outside of what it visually looks like is identical. There is no, you are not shamed for not spending money. That's the key. And they've done,
and that's
they've
what
done
I
it really
prefer.
well.
That's what I prefer, because what I got really tired of is when it was started going towards the trend of, if you didn't pay money, you were missing out on a lot. And it's like,
What's
I paid for the game, but then I don't get to do all these things.
What was that crappy war game? That not tank.
You're talking about
War
Z? No, you're talking about...
What was that crappy military game that we all played that was free to play, and we were just getting raped by tanks and airplanes that people that spent real money had, and we were just spawning and dying, I think Saul made us play it. It was terrible.
No, I think it was. I think I used to play that for a while.
This is your recommendation.
I think it was. I think
we
it was
got
probably my
absolutely
recommendation.
Fucked in this game by all of these guys that were spending money to play. We're running around with our bayonets and our gunpowder, loading our pistols or whatever, and these guys are flying Harriers and tanks around and just annihilating us.
The problem with that game is it became such a pay-to-win game.
Yes.
Like when I first played it, it wasn't that bad. But as I kept playing it, it just hit a point where people were buying planes and tanks. So the only way you were getting some of these things is through real-world purchases. And just at that point, I was like, this is just not worth. I was trying to remember what it's called. I've got it on my library list here.
It wasn't Company of Heroes, was it?
No, that's not it. I'll have it here in a minute. I've just got to.
I'm scrolling through my list because it's significantly shorter, and I don't see anything that's jumping out as what it was. But yeah, nevertheless, there is a very fine line that you can. There's a very fine line that you can walk between. This free-to-play and pay-to-play and pay-to-win mentality. So there's a lot of stuff there. Let's talk about Fallout 76 for a minute. They did a big patch. I believe it was today, if my memory serves me correctly. It was a couple days ago. But they did a patch, and it includes some inventory changes. So let's watch this quick video on some stuff from Fallout 76 and some changes they're making to the inventory.
Seasons to a colossal problem, and one-way Santa shelters. Fallout 76 underwent a lot of changes in 2020, and we are looking forward to keeping up with that momentum in 2021. We cannot wait to share more information with you as to all updates to Fallout 76 arriving later this year. But as for the immediate future, let us chat about something we are calling the inventory update. January 26 marks the date of this brand new update to Fallout 76, which, as you could guess, includes several quality of life changes specifically revolving around how you manage your inventory and stash within the game. First and foremost, we are planning to increase the stash limit from 800 to a maximum of 1200 pounds. Whether it be weapons, armor, junk, meds, or otherwise, we hope that this 50% increase will assist you in your inventory management needs. Looking towards the Pip-Boy, we are making it easier for you to find the items that you desire by adding 3 new tabs to the Pip-Boy menu: New, Armor, and Food/Drink. New will keep track of all the items you gather during your current play session, sorted by newest to oldest, so that you can easily identify the new items you have just collected. As for armor, we are splitting armor pieces into their own menu tab, so that they are separated from other apparel such as outfits. Lastly, Food/Drink will now collate all your food and drink items away from chems and serums, which will remain in your aid tab. Then we come to stack weight. Items such as ammo, chems, and food can be collected together in large quantities and quickly add up to a lot of weight. After this update, whenever you select any stackable item in your inventory, its item details will show the total weight of that stack in addition to the weight of the individual items. This, therefore, allows you to quickly determine how much space those items are actually taking up as a whole. Finally, let us chat about vending machines. A requested feature from the community has been the ability to more easily determine certain items that other players have for sale in their vending machines, such as legendary items, without needing to travel to a camp first. With the inventory update, we are providing you with new previews of player vending machines when examining them from the map. These previews will show you the exact number of 1, 2, and 3-star legendary weapons and armor up for sale, in addition to the existing categories like regular weapons, armor, ammo, and meds. Moreover, empty categories will no longer be displayed in these new previews. And do not forget, Fallout 76 is still receiving a range of new in-game content and events, such as the recently begun Season 3 with KD Inkwell, Fashnot Day, and even new script surplus weekends, which will increase the amount of script that you can trade for in a single day. We will announce the specific dates for in-game events occurring in 2021 via the Fallout website and our social channels. So, please leave your thoughts in the comments below and keep an eye out for more video updates throughout this year. Ad Victoriam.
All right, so they're working on it. They fully admit that they screwed the pooch on the launch, and they are actively working through it. I haven't played the game in quite some time, but I do know a couple people that have played it and have been playing it, and they seem to be enjoying it. I'm not sure I'll ever jump back into it. I know I tried it a couple months ago, and I played it for maybe 2 hours. But
it's one of those games you have to play for like a couple weeks, I think, to get, because there's a lot to it. There's a lot of just like Fortnite. I mean, it's the same thing. There's a lot of little tricks.
That ship has sailed with me. I'm not going to invest that. There's so many other games I'd rather play, including Cyberpunk and Doom Eternal and things like that I haven't gotten around to. I just don't see myself investing the time into Fallout 76. Even if it's a great game. Yeah. I mean, I feel the same way about No Man's Sky. It's kind of the same thing. I'm not going to invest the time. It won't happen.
Yep. Well, hey, let's talk quickly about some things that are happening with Conan Exiles. Now, this is not a very big update, but they're doing some things with profile avatars. So they now have animated profile avatars that you can purchase using Steam points in their Steam point shop. I've not really seen a game push for this. But now they have it to where you can purchase, and they're little avatars that will move. Of course, the preview here isn't animated, but you can go in there, and each one of them is 3,000 Steam points.
Now, this is for your Steam profile?
Steam profile outside of the game, yes.
Gotcha.
Because you can earn. There's various things you can earn Steam points, doing, and these each cost 3,000. You can buy, for instance, profile backgrounds. These avatars that go. Yeah,
look at this one. That's pretty neat looking.
Yeah,
slippery snake.
And, interesting. So for people that are really into pimping their Steam profile, here's some new things.
This one I'm not a fan of. This weirds me out.
Well, those are the big avatars you never see in the game. I mean, I never saw them in the actual game. So
I like the snake. The snake's the coolest. But that's just me. Yep. Oh, hold on.
Well, you can 3,000 points. You can own it.
Oh, that one's kind of cool.
Look at that one.
Spitting up. Oh, wow, that's very cool. Look at that.
That one seems like it's way better than the other ones. The other ones are just like walking and hovering in place.
Yeah, they're all actually walking in place, or all moving in place, except for this one.
Yeah, there's like the only one that's actually doing anything.
This one's pretty cool. This man bird thing. Looks like Brian's World of Warcraft character.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, so there you go.
Huh? How do you get Steam coins? I didn't even know that. Is that a thing?
I don't know. I think you earn them. I don't know if you have to purchase them as well. That's one thing I wasn't sure about, because I know you get some of them, and like I purchased things through like Holiday, but I'm wondering if now you can actually purchase Steam coins. Can you? Let's see if you can purchase Steam coins.
How do I see if I have any coins?
So Steam Point Shop. Let's see how it works. They have a thing here on how it works. You get 100 points for every $1 you spend. So when you buy games, you get points.
How many points do I have? I don't see it.
So
I'm looking through.
Maybe go to your profile.
It's not there. Maybe it's in the Maybe it's in the library. No. Huh.
See, view my wallet. Do they have no Steam points? Good question. I don't see.
Oh, you go to the point shop. All right. Oh, I see it. Yeah, it's in the upper right-hand corner. I have 12,000 points. There's a whole bunch of cool stuff in here.
I only have 7,195 right now.
It's because you don't buy any of your stuff through Steam.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I've purchased a few things, randomly when they had events saying purchase something on the Steam.
I want to buy that thing, that thing throwing up. That's pretty neat. I'll do that after the show. Sorry. All right. So let's get back to the show because I'll end up. I'm gonna. Okay. Let's get back to that. So that's cool. There'll be a link in the show notes for that. You can check it out in the Steam Point shop. Learn something new every day.
All right. So we have some really small ARC updates as well. 321.11. This one happened on the 24th, so 2 days ago, and this was a client-only patch. After placing a structure, the placement HUD would remain active if the player has any more items of that structure available to place. So you no longer have to reselect the structure to place the same type again. This is actually really nice. I was playing it on Xbox, and that's one thing that really surprised me because I jumped in because some of my wife's friends were playing it on there. So I was like, I'll jump in and see what they're doing. Went on there, and I was like, oh, I have to actually go because it's easier when you're doing this on a computer, you just click something a couple times.
Yes.
Well, on an Xbox controller, you're having to go back and forth, select it again, place it, go back to the menu, select it again, place it. So I'm assuming this is fixing some of that. And then 321.14, a couple more updates here. You're no longer able to delete or destroy the obelisk via admin commands. Previously deleted ones are now restored. Fix an exploit that would allow the Velonosaur to have infinite stamina when firing spikes. Fix a bug that would prevent players from accessing the Ferox inventory. Fix a bug that caused billboards and signs to have a 24-character limit. Fix a bug that caused wild beehive spawns to overspawn. Fix a typo with the Ovis Chibi, and then fixed a server crash. That's pretty much all that's happened in ARC in the last week.
All right, let's take a look at Unturned real quick. We've got an update from them, 321.3.0. They added a min-max filter to the flatten landscape tool, and then the collision teleporter component and dev kit volume for an upcoming map update. So that's what they've added. Changes, they separated the kick messages for exceeding ping limit. So I guess there's now a kick message and one kicked for server ping. It looks like they separated those. Player capsule contributions. Player capsule contributes to short vehicles, for example, bike, quad, jet ski, collision. Disabled bed placement on trains because they could extend off the sides into the tunnel walls using plates. So I guess there was a bit of an exploit there. And then automatically calculating axis alignment icon in the camera size for bounds. This also means attachment icons. Okay, whatever. I don't know what any of that means. Gameplay bug fixes the cancel crouch/prone input while swimming. Moved the Yukon terrain underneath ice closer to the surface. Changed from rest stance to prone. Aiming interrupted by inspect confirmation. Empty nail gun ammo and paintball hoppers not being deleted. Double clicking complete quest button causes local misprediction. I don't know what that is. Reopening workshop subscription list. Treat access denied. Workshop items as private visibility. I'm not going to read through the rest of this because none of this makes any sense. But that's the update for Unturned. I always appreciate them, and I always forget that the updates are literally just the updates and are not sentences and are not always easy to comprehend. So, nevertheless, update took place on Friday. It's in the game. Check it out.
Very good. And then we've only got a couple more here. There's some games. Well, actually, let's talk about ROE because
okay,
this I thought this was entertaining.
Sure.
Well, they did they have a new character they put in here, and I just thought this is kind of an odd character. Definitely risque. Seems like you're not supposed to be doing things like this, but they pretty much have a character where it's a woman in a bikini top with her jacket wide open. Just who knows? I mean, I'm sure she's got a backstory. She's a mechanic, by the way, since that's
Fantastic.
the common outfit of mechanics.
Yeah.
And then they're rotating the limited time mode, and then they did a color adjustment to the coins in the lobby. So
she looks very Western, which seems to be a trend with them. They seem to be adding more Western looking characters, which is interesting because I don't believe they have a large Western player base. So I'm not really sure what.
No, this is mostly in Asia, but I just thought this was kind of interesting. I'm sure if they did this with like an American game like Apex Legends or something, people would be freaking out about the objectification of women. But here, this is
Gamergate too.
Yeah. So I saw that and I was like, oh, this is funny. This is something that Reddit or Twitter would freak out about if I still had Twitter. And then we have a couple of games that are going to be coming out. One, I think, I don't know if you had posted this one called Mission Z. It looks kind of like it's a Mission Z survival game.
I think
someone
I did
posted
post it. I think I did. Yeah,
it looks almost kind of like almost like an old H1Z1.
Yeah,
as far as some things that they're kind of mimicking.
I saw this on the survival gaming subreddit. I think. Again, as always, didn't read anything about it. Just saw it, and my first reaction is dump it in the show notes link. And this looks like it's going to be out in
coming out next month,
February. Yeah.
Yep. And so you can add to a wish list. I'm not sure the cost yet, but I'm assuming it's not going to be very expensive.
No. So yeah, it's going to be single player from what it looks like. Story based, story driven. Look, just a survival game. Don't know anything about it. Doesn't look like it's going to be the largest thing in the world. But another survival game. So I thought I'd bring you up to
now. There's one other game I wanted to bring up, and this is a game called Biomutant. And this is one that we showed a trailer for it a while ago. Probably, I think, after one of the cons of some sort. Okay. And so they put out the official trailer for this, and they put a release date. So let's go and play that trailer really quick because it looks really interesting. Definitely a AAA studio doing this, but I figured some people might be interested in it.
Jesus. Oh, this is some stupid YouTube intro. I was like, oh, that's quite a game open. Interesting.
So May 25th is when that'll be released. It's an action RPG.
It says PS4 and Xbox One.
Yeah, so PC, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One.
Why?
Who knows?
Why would you still be releasing a game on the Xbox? Yeah, but it doesn't matter. There's a next.
Do you know anybody who owns the new ones?
Yes, there's a whole bunch of people that own the new ones. Brian, this console is freaking. It came out in like 2011. Move on. There's a new console.
Yeah.
Release it on PC. Why would you be releasing a game on the Xbox One and PS4? That's stupid.
Well, we'll see. I think probably because they were supposed to be released last year in the summer. And so they made it for that because the consoles weren't going to be out.
Adapt.
And rather than taking the extra time,
yeah,
they should have put it to the new PS5.
What kind of player base are you going to have on a last generation console going forward? Longevity.
Yeah.
Yes, I understand there's supply chain issues right now, but by the middle of this year, by the summer, anybody that wants an Xbox or a PlayStation will have one.
I wonder if maybe they're going to put out a patch, then give support for it later, and if they're just maybe doing testing. If they
I just think I've never seen that in the past. I don't remember that happening when the Xbox, with the Xbox 360 and PS3. I very vividly remember a light switch being flipped, and it was okay. The games are now made for this system.
Now, one thing, this game has been in development since 2015. That would possibly be another reason that they haven't done that too, because it's prior to having access to it. But they said that the reason for the delay, they did not say it's because of COVID. They just said because of the sheer magnitude, size, and length of the game, that's why they had to delay it.
Well, maybe it'll do good on PC. Maybe it's not a console game anyway. Hopefully it's not, because I don't know why.
Interesting to see.
I don't know why you'd make a game like this for last. I mean, at this point, the Xbox and PlayStation will be out, a year this winter.
Yeah,
you're going to release a game in the summer.
One thing that they're talking about as far as what kind of makes this a little unique is that, first of all, you do things that genetically modify you throughout the adventure. So you saw that he touched something in the water or whatever, and it changed him some. So you're changing throughout the game. There's a narrator that's throughout the whole thing. And then supposedly your choices affect the game's events, which, you always hear that. It seems like it never really happens. You're still locked into 3 or 4 endings. And that's where I'd like to actually see a game in the future once they have the ability to have one that really adapts, through AI and everything else to make something unique. But we'll see. Maybe an awesome game, but May 25th, they'll be putting it out, and we'll see if it's something that people actually like.
Awesome. I think that's it. I think we covered all of our news. So excellent. With that being the case, we're running a little long, so let's quickly check out some current players. Let's start it off with Ark, currently playing 44,300, the 24-hour peak 71,040, with a 7-day peak of 88,322. Looking at Rust, still phenomenal numbers, 132,286, the 24-hour peak 185,171, with a 7-day peak, which is not an all-time, but is still pretty high, 237,236. Taking a look at 7 Days to Die, currently playing 20,214, 25,742 is your 24-hour peak, with a 7-day peak of 35,373. Moving on over to Conan Exiles with those fancy new avatars, 7,197 people currently playing that. The 24-hour peak, 13,227, with a 7-day peak of 15,690. Wrapping us up, Atlas, 2,343 currently playing that. 3,533 is your 24-hour peak, with a 7-day peak of 4,698. And that brings us current with current players. Those are all the numbers, all the different video games that people are playing, and some of the current player numbers for those.
All right, well, let's go and roll into Tip of the Week, where either I give a general gaming tip, or I figured, hey, since I've been playing some Fortnite, I would do it on that. This is Tip of the Week. All right, so since I've been playing a little bit lately, I figure I'd give you a couple tips that might help you jump back in if you haven't played it for a little while, some things that have changed since some of the original seasons. First of all, the way they've kind of gotten Fortnite to, it's a little bit different than the original BRs that we started playing. We were playing on King of the Kill and things like that, where you would hide in a bush because, who knows where people were, and you had to wait for the zone. Even PUBG, you had to sit there and wait for the zone to close in so that you knew which way to go. But now, with Fortnite, it actually keeps the zones moving pretty fast to where there's not a lot of waiting around. It forces you to limit your looting time and get moving to the next zone. Another thing that might have changed is the way they do the shields. They do have the original ways. You can have these smaller shields that you drink that'll take you up 50%, then the large shield that takes you from 50% to 100%. But they also have a case of what they call slurp that you can throw at the ground now that will give shield to everyone that's in range of it, kind of like a grenade. So if you're in the area of the other person, just stand there, throw it down the ground. All of you will get a certain amount of shield. And then also they have mushrooms you can pick up. There's mushrooms around the world and a few other objects that give you shield. So if you see one of those, you eat it, it will bump your shield up just a little bit. But those are some things that I noticed were changed. I've been having fun playing a little bit here and there. Definitely not something I want to play every day, but maybe if you jump in and play with your kids or something like that, you might enjoy it. So that is tip of the week.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Brian. Do we have a game giveaway?
Let's go ahead and let's draw for this game giveaway. Oh, it's Judd. So congratulations, Judd. You have won a copy of Song of Horror Complete Edition. So if you enjoy that, make sure you let us know, and we will let people know that it's a game worth getting. So
absolutely.
All right. Is there anything else we need to talk about before we roll on out of here?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Well, if you want to find me, you can find me at Brian Aldridge on either Someday Parlor or Gab. You can go to my website, biteoftech.com, or you can go visit infectionpodcast.com. And if you do that, the right-hand side, make sure you go and visit our Discord. There's a link on the right-hand side. Join our server on Discord. If you do that, you can submit news to our news channel. Maybe there's a game you think we should cover, a topic we should cover. And we also have a workout channel. We have a politics channel, all kinds of interesting things that you can join in there. We have our Steam group. So if you happen to be sitting at your computer on a Tuesday afternoon, you get a little pop-up if you have Steam open and reminding you that we're getting ready to start the live show. You can participate in the game giveaway, participate in the chat. We have our video forms of the podcast through Twitch, through YouTube, through DLive and BitChute. If you want to watch the video versions, and some of those we stream live. We also have our video pre and post show that Judd does for us on the podcast extras. There's a link for that on the website. And then our audio only forms. Now those are not live streamed live, but you can listen to those on a lot of different platforms and devices and applications. And if you're going to listen, you can follow along with our show notes, for this will be the 315th episode of the show. You can follow along. There's video links, links to patch notes, articles, everything that we've referred to throughout the show, you have full access to. If you want to support us, you can go to the support tab, or you can go to amazon.infectionpodcast.com, Humble Bundle, or humble.infectionpodcast.com, or you can do, there's Prime Gaming subs you can do through Twitch, and those add up throughout the year and pretty much pay for our packs. And we have last year's and this year's for packs. So we're going to hopefully do something really big for that. So I think that is it.
Lord willing, the creek doesn't rise, Brian, as they say down here in the South. We'll be at PAX. So
all intentions are there. So with probably a bigger crowd than ever. So it'll be fun.
Yes. Well, I mean, at least for us. You know, by the way, I could have crowdfunded our trip to PAX if I had not sold my GameStop share at stock at $60 a share. But I mean, oops. The creek might not rise, but it's snowing now. So there you go.
It's snowing in California right now. Is what he's letting you know. So.
All right. Well, Brian, it has been a pleasure over the past 6 years. I'm not going to say that there are going to be 6 more years. That I can't promise.
Yeah. We're not committing.
No,
we already have it here. We do know that 2029 is a Tuesday episode. So I mean, we are pushing. That's 8 years away.
Why is that written down?
It's Christmas of 2020. We put it when's the next Christmas of 2029 is a Tuesday episode. That's when Christmas will be on a Tuesday. So Merry Christmas. Okay. We're done.
I'll be like 32 32 or 33 years old.
Yeah, I'll be 49.
You'll be 50.
Well, no. Yeah. No, yeah, I will be. I'll just have turned 50, right? Yeah.
There is
That's
not
depressing.
I'll say this.
The days after my 50th birthday, we're still doing this podcast I've been doing since my 30s. That's way too far. That's just too much.
There is not a chance in hell we will be doing this same podcast in 8 years. There's a higher likelihood of GameStop hitting $1 million a share. Then there's a more likelihood of that happening than us doing the show in 8 or 7 years. That's. I guess I would have said the same thing though 6 years ago. So
yeah,
maybe if you guys go into the 3 years,
we're not very good at pod paid, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nick will be married. Maybe I'll imagine all the things. Kids running around.
I disavow that. I have no. I'm good. All right. Yeah, I don't want to talk about that. So, all right. Well, Brian, it's been a pleasure. The audience appreciate your guys' support over the years. And contrary to what people think in the chat, we'll be back next week. All right, folks. My name is Nick Craig. You can follow me on the great site Gab at Nick. I'm verified there, so you won't be confused. It's me. You'll see me on there at Nick on Gab. If you missed any portion of the show notes, images, links, pictures, videos, all that fun stuff's on our website, infectionpodcast.com. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us over the past 6 years. We've had a lot of folks along the ride with us. Appreciate it very much. We'll see you next week. Have a great time. Bye-bye.